Back in the day, when there was a great killing of Jews back in the day, like there was a pogrom in a town, Jews would be, let's say, they would be thrown out of town, they would come back, either resettle somewhere else, but basically what would end up happening was they wouldn't have anyone to contend with about what happened. So either they would blame themselves and say they weren't good enough Jews and God was punishing them, or they would accept their fate, or very unoften they would try to figure out how they could fight back. But regardless, there wasn't like therapy then that people could listen to each other. There wasn't an online thing. In some ways today, the same thing is going on. So basically, they got into the habit of making statements to each other, and people would compete to figure out who can make the bigger statement, the most stronger or bigger statement to each other, and it became like a cultural thing that people just make statements to each other, even though they all agree, and that's like the biggest level of preaching to the choir. That being said, today it's a little bit of the same thing because, one of the biggest surprises after October 7th, however terrible October 7th was, is that for those living in America or living outside of Israel, is like how the world responded. Even those people in Israel, it's like, if you would think that such a terrible thing would happen, you would think that the world would at least be sympathetic and not some dance and some demonstrate the day after, or just by the end of the day, what really hurts is no one gave a shit. It's just, that's what was felt, and that's what it is, and it's about a year and a half later, and things like this happen today. But so you have once in a while a good leader. You have someone like Trump that was going to defends Jewish people. That's very heartwarming to say. It's very heartfelt to see. But generally speaking, it's either blaming them or just not, dancing on the murder of all these Jews on October 7th, blaming the Jews, or just not giving a shit. And generally the world doesn't give a shit. Maybe the world doesn't give a shit about anyone, but anyway, regardless, so Jews are here by themselves, and then naturally what you want to do is you want to start yelling at someone who will listen. So you're going to yell at Hamas, they don't care. You're going to yell at Palestinians or Muslims around the world, they don't care. Some of them are celebrating, they definitely don't care. So you're going to yell at who? The left in America. So they've been claiming to be so moral and ethical and everything like that, and self-righteous, and fine, so you'll yell at the left, but the left doesn't care either. And then you're going to yell at your fellow Jews that are progressive and therefore sort of pro-Hamas, sort of pro-Palestinian, sort of anti-Israel, etc., etc. They're not really Jewish. They're Jewish technically, but their main religion is progressivism. And you yell at them. They don't care either. You want to naturally yell at other people that you should think they should care, especially those who claim that they care about humanity, or even your fellow Jews who should care about you. But in this post-October 7th world, the anti-Jewish Jews, the self-hating Jews, are a huge part of this, and a huge percentage, much higher than it used to be. They're not as violent and as bad as they used to be, but they're much worse. They're much higher percentage. By the end of the day, what are you supposed to do in a day like this? So it's a day of mourning, and everyone should shut up, including me. Take that anger and take that hurt and take all that and feed it into something of becoming a stronger person. Now, you can make statements online, which I do and other people do and all that stuff, and even if you get a lot of views and a lot of agreements. So the online statements are useless by the end of the day. It's nice to talk to your own people. I don't think you can convince many people out there to change their mind, but to talk to your own people, make them feel better about themselves is good, because the whole world is telling you how you're bad and all that stuff. And after October 7th, I'm in Israel, and the whole internet is bashing Israel, and I'm like there every Friday night singing with these beautiful souls and meeting soldiers, the most high conscious people. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like an excellent restaurant that serves 5-star food, and have a 1-star restaurant. Everyone's talking about how bad it is. The bottom line is, though, the reality is, in long term, the great killing or whatever, the great murder that happened 80 years ago, who survived that? The ones that survived that were not the richest and not the strongest. It was ones that had the strongest mind. And the ones that had the strongest mind, that had the strongest gut feeling, they had the biggest chance to survive. And this era right now is an opportunity to really strengthen yourself internally. So physical strength, yes, but internally, whether it's sobriety, whether it's therapy, whether it's, let's say, in New York, finally addressing the mental health crisis, whether it's just around the world, personally becoming a stronger person, having more belief, and however you get there, praying more, etc., etc. That is I wouldn't say answer, because there is no answer, but that's where the direction should go. So you could post online, you could say the world doesn't care, fine. Progressives don't give a shit, fine. Some of them are dancing. Your fellow Jews, some of them are just your enemy. Okay, bottom line is your effort and your energy should go internally, and that's something that could pay off forever. And even if the world descends into the great darkness that it seems like it is, there's rumblings of it, and if it does, then you'll be more prepared for it.